Thank you for watching another one of Mrs. Kennedy's tutorials. Today, I will be showing you how to edit your recorded interviews with the free program Audacity. To begin, you will need to upload or import your audio for the project. To do this, you will choose File, Import. And as you can see, I have placed all of my audio files into one folder. Once you have chosen the audio files that you would like to import, they will layer into Audacity just like this. As you can see, I have imported 3 audio files: my introduction, my interview, and my conclusion. Now that you know how to import your audio, I'll go over a few of the tools that you'll be using while you edit. From the left of the screen, you have your pause, play, and stop buttons. While working in Audacity, this is how you will control your audio. If we begin, I'll push play just to kind of give you an idea of how it works.
Hi, I'm Michelle. What made you decide to take this lead?
As you can see from that, all of my audio files were playing at the same time because they are layered on top of each other. I'll show you how to move that in just a little bit. But now that I've identified those buttons that control the audio, we can discuss some of the tools that you will be using to edit. The tool you will use most is the selection tool. This is the tool that looks like an I, a capital I. The move tool, which is right here with 2 double arrows, will let you reposition your audio, and the cut tool, right here, located right here, will let you cut audio whenever you get ready to do that. Keep in mind, if you make an edit that you want to undo, your undo button is right here. Okay, let's start working with our audio. To begin, I'm going to show you how to change the waveforms on your audio. Right now, your waveforms are quite small, and it makes it a little bit harder to work with. So what you'll do is click on the drop-down menu. I'll do that one more time. Right on the name of your audio, you'll just click on the little downward-facing arrow and choose the waveform dB. That gives you nice big waves of sound that you can see as you make the edits, making it easier to cut and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and do that to all 3 of my audio files so that all 3 of my audio files have really nice waveforms that I can look at and observe. The next thing I would like to do is go ahead and use my move tool, and I'm going to stagger these 3 audio files so that they don't play over each other like they do right now whenever I push play.
What made you decide to take this lead?
So the first thing I'll do is make sure I have my move tool selected, and then I will grab the audio file that I would like to move. So I'm going to move my interview file to match up with the end of my introduction file. Finally, I will grab my conclusion file and do the same thing, except I want it to match up with the end of my interview file, obviously, because we do introduction, interview, then conclusion. Hopefully we all remember that from all the lessons that we've learned this semester. Now that we have staggered our files, it is time to make the edits to the audio. Anytime there is an awkward pause or unnecessary words, you will want to cut that out. Whenever you choose to do that, you'll find the section that you would like to cut. So I am going to grab my selection tool, and I'm going to place my selection tool right at the beginning of my interview portion, and I will hit play. And there was just a little bit of a pause there at the very, very beginning. So I'm going to grab my zoom tool, and we're going to zoom in just a little bit tighter into that first area so I can see exactly how much I'm working with. I'll start with my selection tool one more time. I'll click it right at the very beginning, and then I'll hit play again.
So Marcy,
to see if I want to take any of that out. And it's really pretty close So I'm not quite sure if it's
So,
necessary.
Marcy, what made
Let's pause
So, Marcy.
and listen to that because I'm talking over it and that's making it hard for me to hear it
So,
properly.
So,
Let's turn up my volume just a little bit.
Marcy.
So there is
So, Marcy.
just a little bit of sound here, a little bit of silence. You can see because that wave is just a little bit smaller than all of these others. So with my selection tool selected and the stop button turned off, I can come in here and clean up this little spot. And I can just grab this little spot of dead air and I can either hit my cut tool or hit delete on my keyboard. Either one is up to you. And that will just tighten up this space a little bit. So I'm going to take my cursor and start here.
So, Marcy, what made you decide to take this leap
Let's try it
into
one more
21st
time.
century journalism? So, Marcy, what made
I don't think that was too noticeable. I don't think that I cut too much out. I'm going to try it one more time just to hear it. Maybe I'll start back here at the 44 mark.
the demands of 21st century journalism? So, Marcy.
I think that was a pretty nice transition. I think we went from my introduction into my first interview question quite nicely. So now I'm going to do the same thing to my conclusion from my interview. Just keep scrolling and scrolling because I'm still zoomed in. So it's taking me a little bit to get to the end because I was pretty zoomed in. So I'm going to come here to about my let's say the 253 mark with my selection tool on and my stop button off. I am going to select to play right about here.
Be ready in the field. As Marcy stated,
It seems like there's a little bit of a breakup here, so I think I want to clean that up. Make sure your stop button is off, otherwise you can't make any adjustments. And with your selection tool still chosen, we'll come in and I want to see if I cut this out, what that's actually going to do to my audio. So I will hit my cut. I will move my selection back to the 253 mark.
In the field. As Marcy stated,
I think that's a pretty tight cut, but what I'm noticing is I have this gap here. So now I need to grab my move tool and I need to turn my stop button or click my stop button and I need to grab that conclusion and match it back up. Speaking of matching this up, since I made a cut earlier, I should probably double check that to make sure that my audio isn't off there. We are scrolling and scrolling for what seems like forever. My audio still seems matched up here. So now I know that if my audio plays, it will pick up and it will be matched and I won't have to worry about any dead space because I didn't align the audio. Once you have made all of your cuts, you can start working on the fine tuning of your audio files. To do this, one traditional way is to fade in and out of the audio. This will soften the audio when you're making transitions to go from one person speaking to another person speaking or to go from one of your audio files to the next. The easiest way to fade in and out will be to go up to your effect and you can choose fade in and out right here. So I'm going to look at this for the conclusion of my podcast. And you see I just really zoomed out so that it wouldn't take me quite as long and I wouldn't have to scroll all the way through. But now I'm going to try to zoom in just a little bit because I want to be at the end and I want to see these waveforms pretty big so that I know exactly what it is that I'm working with. So I'll just keep zooming here until I can get them where I want them. And as you can see, I'm already pretty quiet down here. So we might just listen to it once to make sure that we don't need to do any additional cutting. So to do that, I'll grab my selection tool again, And I'll start at about the 327.5 mark.
School in Green Valley, Missouri.
And you can see that that's just a little bit of pausing at the very end. And I think I'll probably just leave it there instead of cutting. And what I would like to do is start adding an effect. So I would like to fade out. And you can see that it faded out the whole thing. And that is not exactly what I wanted to do. So I'm going to hit undo to delete that change because I forgot to make the selection of what I wanted to fade out first. That's where my problem is. It's always good to make mistakes so that you guys can see what happens and then you can know how to fix it. So I think I will try a fade out just on this little, let's actually listen to it one more time at about this 328 mark.
In Green Valley, Missouri.
And I think maybe I'll go back a little bit farther, maybe this 326 mark.
Jess Yearbook at Green Valley High School in Green Valley, Missouri.
And I will go ahead and pause that, and I think I'd like to make this selection from 326.
Jess Yearbook at Green Valley High School in Green Valley.
And I'll start my selection here. I'll even start it a little before. And then I will select all the way through. And now I will add my fade out effect. With that fade out added to this end of my audio, I am going to start back up at 320. Let's start at 322.5, and let's see what that fade out sounds like.
This is Michelle Kennedy, advisor of the Talon and the GVHS Yearbook at Green Valley High School in Green Valley, Missouri.
And that's actually making it pretty quiet. So I don't think I want to adjust it just quite that far, but you guys can hear what the effect does and what fading out sounds like. So that is one way for you to add a more finished sound to your podcast. For me, I'm going to hit that undo button one more time, and I think leave my audio just as it is. Please take some time, and if you need to rewatch any of these sections, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, thank you for listening, and stay tuned for the next tutorial.